just 7/8 of a mile, Iowa Speedway is the second shortest track on the calendar. But what it lacks in length, it more than makes up for in character. High speeds, tight corners, and plenty of action await as we bring you round 2 of 12 in the Speed Racing Network's Steel Graphic and Design Series' 8th season. Live from virtual Newton, Iowa on VIRacing.com motorsport simulations platform. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emerson, joined in the virtual booth by Jonathan Byer, and we're thrilled to be bringing you flag-to-fly coverage of tonight's race from this unique short track. Last week at Daytona, it was David Davis who emerged from the chaos and nailed the fuel strategy to perfection, claiming his first career victory in the season opener. Tonight, the big question, can Davis make it 2 in a row, or will someone else rise to the occasion and stake their claim as a title contender? Buckle up, it's time to go racing from the virtual Iowa Speedway. And JB, welcome here to Iowa. Fantastic facility, and now the newly updated version here on the iRacing.com motorsport simulation platform. JB, welcome, man. What say you?
Yeah, Iowa, one of my favorite tracks. I'm a Minnesota guy at heart, and so it's kind of the closest NASCAR track we have up there. So what I like about Iowa, Emerson, is it's short, but it's fast. A lot of the short tracks we normally see on the circuit pretty flat, so the speeds are a little bit slower, but man, they are hauling the mail around here. Like you said, recently reconfigured. They've paved some sections in the corner. That's the darker asphalt that you see there. Lots of grip in that, but the problem is it ends right there on corner exit, and you immediately lose all that grip. So it kind of has become a pretty treacherous track too, in a way. So I'm sure we're due for some entertaining moments tonight. This field always does a good job of providing us with that.
Absolutely. We're going to go through our starting lineup tonight. Following Zozo's Miniatures qualifying tonight here from the Iowa Speedway, it's Lane Doyle and Dan Park making up that front row. Max Service and Andrew Harris make up row number 2. Joe Ruggles with a top 5 starting position for the 96 Team Apache team. Matthew Greathouse will start 6th. Jay King and Matthew Cornell 7th and 8th. David Davis, Daniel Baldler round out the top 10, and Connor Cunningham will start shotgun on the field this evening in 11th. Now, this
couple
track,
important notes tonight, too,
absolutely,
just for our viewers to keep track of. 4 sets of tires is what these guys have. This is a very abrasive race track. They're going to want tires a ton, but in 175 laps, they're only going to be able to bolt on 4 of them. We have no fast repairs, so you're going to have to kind of protect the vehicle as well. 3 attempts at a green-white checker if we happen to need them, but the hope is always we can have a nice clean finish to the
Absolutely, that is the hope. And tonight, again, round 2 of 12 on the season. This season, JB, being a shorter season, kind of like the summer series, and like each race is much more important than a typical normal length full season that we do here at SRN. So, getting a good run tonight, very much, especially if you had a bad run last week at Daytona, is pivotal for your real contention in this season. And so here we go. As a field of 11 SRN SGD racing vehicles work their way off of turn number 4, the iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down in the pit lane. The field in the hands of Lane Doyle. Racing commences from the cornfields at Iowa. Completed. It's Dan Park now going to the point around the outside. You see there the different color pavement there from the repave there in the corner. It's Dan using to the top side of that newer pavement there, and Andrew Harris able to solidify himself there in second. Now Doyle was on the inside for the initial start, and he fought hard with Dan, but Dan was able to stick it out on the outside and really leg himself around the 47. We'll see Harris and cautions out on the speedway. Daniel Baldler in trouble in the 6 machine.
Baldler is our if you would consider the hometown ringer, you know, a driver who races a dirt car in his home state of Iowa. So he's kind of the guy that coming into tonight, you're like, well, if somebody's going to figure it out, it's going to be him. And he's the one here in early trouble.
First caution on the evening, 4 of a 6 of Daniel Baldler, and he will get just a little tap in the rear end of the 78 of Connor Cunningham. The hood comes up from that nose contact to the outside wall for Daniel Baldler, and already a good bit of head damage. 4 of a 6 machine. We get another look at it.
Yeah, that's a tight spot there coming off the corner. You got a car right on your rear bumper, and you're obviously paying attention to the guy in front of you. And it looks like the 19 was just a little slower than maybe what the 6 expected on corner exit. And then when you have to check up in such a vulnerable position of the racetrack like that, it's be a recipe for disaster.
Looks like
A little
Baldler
contact
was
there, so he got a little help.
Kind of loose or struggling for grip there in corner exit.
Yeah.
And then Connor definitely did not help that case. But looks like there
That's right there where that pavement ends.
Yeah, 100%. That's where we've been seeing all the trouble,
You know,
today in practice.
that's the vulnerable spot. Yep, exactly. You have so much confidence in the car because you have all that grip on that fresh pavement, and it's just like a light switch. I mean, once you get on that old stuff, that lighter pavement, it's all gone.
So Daniel Baldler receiving the brunt of the pit service this evening. Also drivers coming in, Max Service, the lone Canadian in this field, Connor Cunningham, David Davis, all of them receiving fuel service here on the first caution period of the evening. Race leader Daniel Park, behind the iRacing.com safety vehicle. It's Park from Harris, Doyle, Greathouse, Ruggles, King, Cornell. Service Cunningham Davis, the top 10. Baldler, the lone car, outside the top 10 and 11, and receiving extensive pit repairs as the iRacing.com safety vehicle crosses the line there. The lights are still on. We're going to take this quick moment and hear a quick message from our partners here at SRN. Don't you go anywhere. The action continues on the far side of the break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome, race fans, back to the virtual Iowa Speedway. Here to restart about to ensue as we wrap up caution period number 1 from the Iowa Speedway. Daniel Baldler getting into some early trouble here. We'll find our way down back trackside as the iRacing.com safety vehicle find its safety in the pit lane. The field in the hands of Dan Park. Green flag in the air. Racing resumes from Iowa. This time it's Andrew Harris going to the point now on the outside of Dan Park. Not able to clear him just yet. Dan fighting hard there on the inside. Nearly coming together through the center of 1 and 2, and Harris clears to the point.
Nice move by Harris here early. That top side, you know, you can keep, we talked about this place being fast, you can just keep so much momentum wound up in that car than you can on the bottom. But you'll find out probably here if we get a little green flag running going, your tires get eaten up quite more aggressively when you're running that top. And so, you know, this could be a case where we just kind of see, you know, Mr. Park going, hey, you can have it right now, but I'm going to stay within shooting distance and just take a little bit better care of my stuff.
Park, and now the battle for third. It's Matthew Greathouse and Lane Doyle going at it. Two of our series vets battling it out there in that second position. Doyle on the top side, Greathouse down low. They'll be side by side down the back straightaway. If Doyle, you know, he got eaten up there when he started this race from the pole position on the inside, and now on the outside, Greathouse kind of takes it to him, really powers his way by, and so I would have to think Doyle right now kind of on the passive side, maybe trying to save some tire there, and Cunningham now in the 78 machine rising to the occasion.
Yeah, it's interesting to see kind of what strategy guys employ. You know, Iowa's one of those weird tracks where it's almost just as statistically common to see a long green flag run as it is just a lot of caution. And so, you know, you have to think, well, if I'm going to sit here and save, I kind of need to see some long green flag running. And the one difference is with the shorter field that we have here today, there's a really good chance that that could happen. So I'm kind of on the side of the strategy of maybe taking a little bit more conservative on the tires early, because I can make dividends at the end of the run, especially if we get into a longer run here.
Here's the time now, and Matthew Greathouse really trying to make something happen here on the 7 of Daniel Park. Big run, 51. Now he dives down to the inside. Greathouse does on Park. Greathouse trying to paint that white line with his left side tires. Can he make it all the way around the corner? And he does. Clear by the 7. Now Park eaten up by Cunningham as Cunningham shoots down to the inside in that gold number 78. Now a little bit of bottoming out there to the center of 1 and 2.
Without any damage there on the 7, I think he's doing just what we were talking about, Anderson, a second ago. He's just being uber conservative right now. He's kind of playing the long game. But what you saw Greathouse do there in the 51, that's the textbook way to pass here at Iowa. Get a bunch of momentum on corner exit, dive it down deep into the next corner. The trick is, though, you got to make it stick. How many wrecks here at Iowa have we seen the car on the bottom wash up and the car above, and then we see both simultaneously spin out? But a good job of car control by Greathouse to keep that from happening. And if you can just get a really good angle on the power down on corner exit, you're going to complete that pass. That's textbook Iowa racing there from the driver of the 50.
100%. And now looking Connor and Greathouse, both of them on the aggressive early. Look to see how they fare here, call it in 20 to 30 laps from now. If they have that same kind of angst, same kind of aggression, working their way forward in the field. And you see Connor now sizing up the 51 of Greathouse. And we'll see who will prevail here. Now, what I was noticing, you saw there watching out the rear end of the 78 as well, JB, is these cars are set up really low to the ground that when they go over those bumps, even though they're paved over, they're still scraping up over these bumps. You'll see some sparks just on how low to the ground these cars are sitting.
Really rough racetrack. Kind of reminds me of, you remember the backstretch at Auto Club when NASCAR would go there? It didn't matter what kind of setup you had. Your teeth were going to get shattered over the bumps, and it upsets the car a little bit. One important note I've noticed, now I haven't raced since they've done the reconfiguration, but the old Iowa that was scanned was still pretty worn out as well. Later in the run, when that car gets a lot lighter, you get a lot of tire wear, you got to kind of be careful over those bumps and paying attention, because it's really easy, even on the straightaway, to get the car crossed up, especially on the front stretch, because you're still putting just a little bit of wheel input to get around the D-shape oval on the front stretch. And if you're not paying attention, one of those little bumps can sneak up on you. I've had it happen to me before.
100%. That definitely does come to fruition. It can come back to bite you. And most of these bumpy tracks, and Iowa is no exception.
That's what we love to see. We love racetracks with character, right? Because it's just another element to throw it in there. And, you know, it's what makes racing on the sim kind of an art, too, because you kind of have to feel it more in your hands. You know, drivers in real life, they can feel it more in the seat. And so sometimes it's a little bit harder to kind of grasp that just racing is on your computer screen.
Yeah, that's where, you know, sometimes real drivers will say when they race, you know, give iRacing a try or give sim racing a try, is that it's almost a little more difficult to sim race because you don't have the feeling of the whole car around you. You only can tell what the car is doing through your hands, or, you know, for a really advanced sim rig, and even then, it doesn't convey it all the way.
Exactly, yeah. And when all the drivers took to iRacing during COVID, that was one of the big things of feedback. Like, it's just such a different skill set, and that's why I have a lot of respect for guys that iRace at high level. Yeah, because if you didn't have that background experience and kind of knew how those reflexes, you know, to react and things like that, yeah, it's like being thrust into a foreign environment. It's like telling an IndyCar driver, hey, go run the Coke 600. Okay, you know, without much practice, that's not going to go too well, I can imagine. Yeah, it's the exact same thing out here, and a lot of times too, especially with the drivers we have in our series, you know, they don't have a ton of practice time over the week as well. And Iowa's one of those racetracks that we were talking about a little earlier, brand new scan on it, so it feels, it looks a little bit different, and so it can take these drivers a little time to get up to speed. Yeah, that's one of those situations I was talking about. With that D-shaped oval, you have a little bit of steering input in it, but it's so bumpy, it's just, that wall will just reach out and get you.
5 away, welcome back to the race. Daniel Baldler, 16 laps down, but he got that car repaired and he brought it back out here. Baldler, he's in it for the long haul. He's points racing now.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to be, right, from week one, and even more important this year because we only have one drop week, right? And so all that factors in together where, you know what, if I can get out here, maybe somebody has a computer connection issue, maybe there's another wreck later on, 2 or 3 spots can be a big difference by the end of the year. And Emerson, I feel like every year we're in the booth together or playoffs are approaching, we're always talking about a margin of 1, 2, 3 points. It's kind of inevitable that it's eventually going to be a factor.
It certainly will be, as it is every season. You just know a scenario because there's so many different things that you can't control. But somehow, some way, everything comes to a point. Whether it's, you know, at the elimination or 4 of a transfer or 4 of the lead in the point standings at that. You could definitely see it play out here, especially with the season so young and these cars that we haven't really seen these drivers run much of. We know Max Service was a staple in this car the last time it ran in SRN competition. Great House as well. But other than them, Baldwin, I guess. Other than them, most of these guys were running trucks the last time we were running this car.
Yeah, and the trucks couldn't drive more different than these cars. You know, I sit and talk to my team all the time because we also run, you know, Outlaws on Wednesday nights, and they run the trucks. It's like the driving style and the approach in which you have to those races are almost 2 completely different mindsets. In the truck, momentum, you have to be aggressive. You're really not thinking about taking care of your tires too much. You're just trying to find clean air, work around people. You kind of got to drive them a little bit like an unpleasant driver, I guess would be a good way of saying it. But in these Xfinity cars, it's much more about being smooth, being crafty, protecting your stuff, knowing where to make the right passes. Kind of more old school, if you will. You know, trucks are much more of the modern racing we're seeing, where there's just so much aero involved and so much momentum involved. So kind of refreshing every time I can watch one of these Xfinity races. We're not going to be able to call it that for much longer. But it's just the old school racing mentality is something that I do appreciate.
Is that Harris in the wall?
Oh, into the
Here
wall
goes Cunningham.
Harris. Yeah.
Andrew Harris, the race leader, catches the wall. Cunningham now has the chance to take the lead. And now 87-78 inverse numbers going at it for the top spot. Dan Park also not too far behind. You see there Harris very low off of turn 4, and Vadson maybe being a little more cautious, trying to get back onto the throttle, not trying to get himself in that situation. Because what you'll notice, JB, with the curved straightaways, these cars, these sides, they're very flat, especially the composite bodies. it's easy for these cars to kind of get sucked in to that wall. You'll really feel it when you race on the sim up against those curved straightaways. It's almost a curse. You need to give yourself a little more space than you would typically if it was a straight kind of straightaway. But when you get close to those curved straightaways, one little slip up and you're gonna be stuck on that wall for, you know, a couple hundred feet.
Yeah. It's exactly what we saw Connor do a little bit earlier, but unfortunately for Andrew, it was closer to the entry of the corner.
Yeah.
So it's just going to kind of completely throw off your corner. It's going to cost you a lot more time. But what is nice, though, and as you alluded to, it's not going to get you a bunch of damage on the car. So it's going to make you lose momentum, a little bit of time. If you can gather yourself back up, generally you're going to be okay. But that's one thing that's kind of a unique sim racing thing is some of it's internet connection that factors into this, of course. But these walls are kind of sticky, you know,
Yeah.
and the last thing you want to do is get like really stuck to it and you have to ride it kind of into the corner. I mean, if that was what Andrew had happened there, he would have maybe gone back to maybe 5th, 6th position.
Yeah.
So kind of lucky it was just a bounce and carry it on. But yeah, that's just one of the things about the D-shaped oval that's just a little bit unique and a little bit difficult. But also kudos to Connor there. He had the opportunity to drive it really deep into turn 1. And honestly, that probably would have resulted in an issue for them both. So Connor knew, hey, it's still early, lap 37, don't got to push the issue right now, kind of reset, plenty of time left, and Connor's not leaving him alone, that's for sure.
100% Andrew Harris having to keep his eyes on that mirror, and don't look now, here comes the 6 of Daniel Baldler as well. The lap vehicle gonna get one of those laps back the hard way anyway. He's gonna attempt to. He's already caught up to 3rd place Dan Park, who's right there in frame. And then he'll be right behind Connor here as he clears by the 7. And so Baldler wants to get one of those 16 laps back.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
That's
Connor
a good
now.
example, too, of what tires mean.
Yeah.
Because that's basically a 16-lap different tire and a car with a considerable amount of damage, and he's able to run up right to the leaders. So, you know, we talked about the 4 sets. Everybody's probably thinking, well, you know, with fuel mileage, it's a lot of sets. But, you know, if a caution comes out every, 20, 30 laps, these drivers are going to want tires every time, but they can't take them every time. So strategy is always fascinating, but a track like this where you have high tire wear, it just becomes that much more fascinating. Just think about the race we just had at Bristol. You know? The management of tires is just such a unique thing, and everybody loves it. Like, that's what we NASCAR fans don't agree on much, but we generally like that.
Yeah. The chaos and the strategy, and it was just awesome. And you'll see here, Baldler now, he caught Cunningham out of turn 4 last time, but he wasn't able to put the power down. So now Connor compromised this corner exit to give Baldler space. Ended up having to really wait for the next lap to get back there. And now Cunningham lost almost all touch with Harris and is now under attack from Daniel Park.
Yeah, that's the I mean, I talked about, the Xfinity car not being a huge momentum car, but there are still moments where that matters a lot, and you saw it right there. Just was unable to keep the momentum up, and it cost him a little bit of time. But you also have to realize, I'm not racing the 6. I don't really need to put myself in a bad situation there. I think he knows he's maybe a little quicker than the 87, so as the run continues on, he's going to get another shot at him like that.
Yeah, 100%. Now you see Baldler, he'll have to do the same thing to find a way around V87 now. And then there's the lap the vehicle up the road there. I believe that is Jay King in the 19 machine. That is also going to pose a factor in this lead battle. As you work lap 43 of 175 from the Iowa Speedway. Baldler there, a little sideways off of turn number 2. And Andrew Harris.
Yeah, anytime you have damage on your car too, that handling is going to get worse and worse, and the worst damage you can get is what we saw on the left rear, with it being pushed in from Connor making that contact. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but just the aero disadvantage that comes from that can be quite considerable.
Absolutely, and Baldler now, he hasn't really had that opportunity to pass. This is really going to be the key here. Where does everyone go around the 19 of Jay King? Harris now checks up. He wanted to go up high. He's going to have to go down to the middle. An elevator to basement move for the 87 machine. Baldler back way off as well. And now Cunningham tries to slide on past the 19 and Park And that very much could have been detrimental to all 4 of them. And they luckily all got past 19 in one piece, but my goodness, that could have been something else. Max service now on
That's one
the
of
rear end
those
of the
where you're just
51.
like, oh boy. You know, a lot of times you're just asking the lap cars to be predictable, right, Emerson? You know, at some tracks where, like we have here, where there is so much options for racing, right? Bottom, middle, top. There's basically almost 4 grooves in the corners here that the lap cars could theoretically go anywhere because the racing line is anywhere. Good job by Jay, though, to just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go all the way to the top, get clear out of the way. But the best thing he can do now for the competition is every time they reach him, you got to do that, right? You got to be on the top, because if they come to him next time and then he picks the bottom, it's where we tend to see problems.
On board with Max service here into the top 5 and looking for 4th for Matthew Greathouse. And these are 2 of our mainstays in the B car series as they're in hand, and so not surprising to see both of them inside the top 5.
Yeah, not me either. You know, 2 guys that all the time we just, in these cars, we see run really, really well.
Great out sideways there off of 2. Max trying to take advantage of it. And a nice roll to the center of 3 and 4. Can't get into the quarter panel now. It's still Greathouse over service by about a 1/10.5. Looking lap 50 of 175.
You know, I've been watching lap times a little bit too, and it seems that, you know, for the first 15, 20 laps, you know, there's kind of a gradual fall off, like a 10th here, 10th.5 here. Then after that, you start to see some big chunks fall off, and then in the last 5 laps or so, 5 to 6 laps, things kind of leveled off a little bit. Everybody's kind of running about the same time. I don't really see anybody blistering up speed a ton. I would say one thing that I've noticed, and this is probably why Andrew Harris is just doing such a good job leading this race, he's probably been the most consistent on lap times. He's never given up a ton to Connor, but he's not gaining a ton either. So he's kind of riding right in that middle groove. But Connor seems to be the only driver I see on the track, other than Dan Parker's running good times right now, be able to kind of consistently run right there and take some chunks out of the lead.
Yeah, Cunningham continues now to take chunks out of Harris's lead, but he was closer, so trying to kind of, I guess, regain some of that lost time he had with the 19 machine. Or, yeah, with the 6 machine, I guess, and then the 19 going through did not help. So Connor now closes that down.
One thing I've noticed, too, is if you take a look at the top 3 cars, and they're all really close to each other, so it's kind of easy to see, they all have a slightly different attack to the corner. You know, you have the 87 kind of enters high, kind of swoops it down to the middle.
Yeah.
Kind of apexes a little late and then just lets it drift. Connor's kind of running low the entire time, getting his left side there on the white line. And then you have the 7, who's entering even higher, but he's kind of staying up much higher. He's not cutting the end of the corner off, so he's getting really, really good momentum on corner exit. I've been watching the 7 car here for about 10 laps. And the attitude of that car I really, really like. We talked about him kind of going into conservative save mode early. I think that's really helped him save a little bit of tire, because you don't see that car getting way out of shape.
100%. That's so right, JB. The top 3 running 3 completely different lines. That is textbook Iowa.
That's what makes this track fun.
It's
exactly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone can run their own line, and there's still other options.
And I have to say it again, I just like what the 7's doing. I think him to be able to keep that momentum up on corner exit.
There. Big run for Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Dan went a little higher than I think he'd like.
Really high that time.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get
no new pavement
pass
up there. No grip.
But man, but you know what, JB, what Dan has over Harris and Cunningham as well is the stability in their cars is we want for his first career win. Cunningham and Harris, they
I think
felt
we were still saying that, to be honest.
they felt the chance, or they felt what it's like to win an SRN. Dan Park is there searching for it, and he has steadily gotten better and better and better. He came in, I believe, season 2 or 3 into SRN, and it would be the odd 1 or 2 races that Dan would maybe have some speed, and then it became, half the schedule. Now it's week in and week out for the 7 car, and Dan continues to rise to the occasion, and he just passed Connor with ease. We have a battle for 4th as well between Great House and Service, and Great Service dives it off into 1 to move Max Service to 4th. But for Dan, he has the confidence in him. You heard him last week in his interview for finishing 3rd. Was Dan felt that he has a win in him this season. Can it come this early in the calendar? Maybe. He's got the speed, he's got the pace too, but we'll see, as he's now up to 2nd, and we'll see if he has a chance at the 87.
Historically, like what we've seen, to win these SRN races, you really have to put a lot of things together. The competition level in these series are usually pretty high. The race lengths are somewhat decent. So you have to put a bunch of different things together, and it seems like every time we've seen Dan have a chance, one of those little things just don't go right. A bad pit stop, an unfortunate placement on the restart.
Whoa!
Really loose right now. He was tracking that thing sideways all the way down the backstretch. I think I could read his door. If I was standing in 3, I think I could read his door number the entire backstretch.
Yeah, I saw his right side and then his left side. I mean, that thing was sideways every which way.
Yeah.
And that was the first real step out of line, step out of stability for the 7
First real moment.
Recover. Yeah. And it was a big one at that. Connor, I think, is coming in.
Happy with him for next.
78 is in.
Yep, Connor's coming.
Connor Cunningham, the first to pit tonight. Yep.
And Iowa track, pit road's not too entirely difficult to get on. It's kind of an odd blind spot, but I saw a lot of these guys in practice were giving it a chance, and that's always a good thing. The thing you have to be careful of is with the bends in pit road, it's easy to speed. It's easy to, you're trying to look at where you're at, and you're not paying attention to what the tack is showing you. I've done it before, and you just bump up it a little bit quick on the speed, maybe a mile an hour quick, and iRacing, they have a tolerance, but not much.
Yeah, maybe that 1 mile an hour over, and even that's pushing it. So Cunningham down and away, and depending on when
we'll get a real good look at the difference in lap time. Too.
The gap, because at this point he's going to have a gap over V's 2, but how big of a gap he has over V's 2 when pit stop cycle out is going to be the question then. So Connor is committing to a 2-stop strategy now. Pitting now, he's basically going to pit also at like lap 125, and that's going to take him to the end. You can, in theory,
and with the fall off in lap times, I don't mind that.
Yeah, you can, in theory, go to lap 87, 90, and see if it works out there. But we'll see if the 2-stop strategy is the pace fast enough to win this race.
And you have to also think about your attributes as a driver, right? What works best for you. Connor will say it. He's not a guy that's really great at saving tires, right? It's easier for him to run hard, but take that extra pit stop, but run hard the entire time. I think of the exact opposite when I think of somebody like Dan Park. Really good at saving, right? So if there's somebody that's going to maybe take advantage of that 1-stop strategy, it's going to be the 7.
Lane Doyle is in the 47 machine. Look to see him have some track position once this cycles all the way out.
I like how Connor was committed to it, and he just went ahead and said, I'm stopping now, because with the lap time difference in new tires to old tires, you can't see it right now, but he's making up
faster.
a lot of time. A second faster, yeah. You know, you put that on, 10, 15 laps. Yeah, that's 10, 15 seconds.
He just ran
That's
the
big.
fastest lap of the race,
That's why short pitting is
23.87.
such a big strategy. Oh yeah, yeah, that's hauling the mail, if you will.
Yes.
Because the leader last time by ran a 25.247, so second and
Yeah.
a half faster that last lap. That's picking it up and putting it down. And Connor's doing exactly what I said. He's a driver that's like, you know what? I'm gonna just run hard the whole time, and he's taking advantage of it because he's putting a lot of time delta in his favor now.
Here we go now.
The only
Look,
other
the battle
person
for
that's
the
going to be
lead.
close is Lane.
The battle for the lead was between
Ooh, into the
Harris
wall
and
a
Dan
little
Park.
bit there too.
But enter Max Service, JB. It's now a 3-car
Yeah.
battle for the lead.
Max Service, the
Service.
last handful of laps, tad 2/10 faster, and he's just slowly crept up to the top two.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. He's just eased his way here, and Harris looks like he's on his last legs of those tires, Park desperately trying to find a way, and now as his mirror turns more dark blue, trying to find a way now before Max gets to his bumper. And so 3 cars under a blanket, working lap 72 of 175. This time by will be 103
Again, we have 3 different
laps to
lines
go.
being run too.
Yup. Here comes Max.
Every time they get to the corner, they're a little different. And, now if you've committed to making one stop, it almost hurts you more if you decide against it. Ooh, really slow entrance to the corner for Andrew Harris. Again, Park a little heads up driving, not getting in the back of him. But if you change your mind now, you really put yourself at a disadvantage. So it's almost better just kind of taking your medicine and just trying to do what you can to hold on. But you can tell that the grip level, and especially these front two, there's not much left.
Yeah. Joe Ruggles has hit the pit lane. So Ruggles will look to have some track position once the pit cycle's through as well. And Harris, he is doing, gotta tip your hat to Andrew Harris, because he has some phenomenal defense now. Kind of using the entire width of the racetrack to keep Dan Park behind. But for how much longer? Here comes Dan, driving down to the inside, painting that white line. He did catch that apron. And now, see now where the 81 goes.
Such a fine line. Such a fine line there, because there's grip on that paint. You see that white paint down there. If you can get your left sides on it, it's advantageous. But if you get an inch further, get on that flat part of the racetrack, car does not like that very much, and you'll pay the price. Luckily for him, he was able to gather it up pretty quick. But we saw earlier, a similar issue. If you get that left side splitter to just touch that flat, I mean, it's going to shoot that car straight up the racetrack.
Oh yes. And
Worst feeling in the world too.
At this point,
There's nothing you can do about it.
You can physically see when Andrew is going from the top to the bottom, and they cross paths. You can see Dan's car tighten up in the center of the corner because of that dirty air that gets stuck on that wheels. You can see it, especially in the turn 3.
Imagine if it was a next gen car.
Oh my goodness.
Dan would be losing half a second. But even though these cars don't have that big aero disadvantage that we see on some of the higher drag vehicles, it's still enough to make a difference, even on a small track like this.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's going to happen no matter the shape of the car, just because it's a block of air that shifts on the nose. You see Harris still sideways, nearly into the wall. Here comes Dan now. This is the biggest chance Dan has had tonight. Can he make it stick? Out of turns 3 and 4. Harris nearly in the wall. Dan Park to the lead.
Here comes Connor. He's like, hey, boys, I know this is all fun and games, but I'm trying to get my lap back down here. And you'll just see how much faster the 78
Connor
is.
just bullies his way past Andrew Harris.
Oh, yeah. Those fresh tires are coming and going. But that was the biggest mistake we saw the 87 so far this year. He's doing such a good job on defense. But when you have those two hungry drivers right behind you that really haven't made a mistake, they're just kind of waiting their time. Unfortunately, when you do make a mistake, they're just going to sit there and take advantage. See the biggest difference in the fresh tires that you see on the 78 opposed to these guys that haven't pitted yet but right in front of him. He's able to drive so much deeper into the corner. That's really where that time is gained. It's about equalized, I guess, on exit. Not seeing too big of a difference, but he also does have to deal with a little dirty air, and that's the first time we've seen the 81 step way out of line.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to the real nitty-gritty of these tires. Now we're 81 laps into the run. I guess give or take
Not much left.
laps.
They're getting their money's worth.
There's not a whole lot left here. So now Max really trying to make something happen here on the 7 machine. Max did get a victory. I can't recall if it's more than one, but I do recall him getting the victory at Indianapolis last real season we had with these cars. So Max trying to get himself back to victory lane as well. Yes, they're in competition.
And the driver who, what I notice about Max is, it doesn't matter the racetrack we go to, he's going to be somewhat in contention. And
oh yeah,
those are some of my favorite drivers to watch because any given week, right? Just like they say in football, any given Saturday.
Yeah, any Sunday. Yep. any.
Yep.
I've known Max for over 4 years at this point. And Max, more than anything, he might not have the pace week in and week out, but he is a very cerebral driver. And he'll play it off as he's just messing around or, you know, just having fun with strategy.
Yep.
But he really does understand as the car wiggles up the track as he's getting the Dan. He really does understand these cars on a level that some other drivers don't. And then he has a way with strategy as well. And a big dive now. Service absolutely obliterates Park on corner entry. And, I mean, he gained 2 to 3 tenths on corner entry over Dan that time. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was, I think that caught us all a little off guard. We weren't expecting that exact maneuver at that time, but
he dove it and it stuck.
Time to pull off. Yeah, because you would think on this time in the race where they are on tires, there's a chance that doesn't stick and probably ends up catastrophic for the 81, to be honest.
But you know what? He probably knew. Maybe he hasn't ran, you know, an 86 lap run on tires. As Andrew Harris comes into the pit lane, the 4th place starter and the majority leader of this race to this point.
So this is kind of that. Now we're seeing the guys that are on that one-stop strategy. Yep. So Harris will be the first one.
Shout out Matthew Cornell. Very quiet day for the 22. And right now in 5th. And Harris overshoots the box.
Oh, man. Those little things you just can't have happen. Give up so much time.
Here goes Connor, working his way past the 81 to unlap himself. Andrew Harris.
Interesting, he kind of sat there behind those guys for a few laps, and you think about the tire difference, he should be able to go right by them, but you know, eventually those tires do level off to a certain extent, but I think now that Connor's in some clean air again, he's going to be able to make a little bit more hay on what he's got before the rest of these guys come in. And I think in about the next 8 to 10 laps, everybody will cycle through and we'll kind of get a good picture on exactly what the time deltas look like. And we'll see if it favors one or the other strategy. I kind of do like just looking at the time differences, what that two-stop strategy gives these guys.
Yeah, because we're at the point now, it took Connor quite a long time to get past those guys. And to this point, Connor is still running faster than Max, but he's only running about 3 tenths quicker than Max. And Max is on 91 lap old tires.
Yep.
That's something interesting. So Connor now looking to pass by the 6 of Daniel Baldler, who's on his own strategy. Baldler now, I would say, he's also pretty deep in his ride. I'd say about 70 laps, I guess, on his tires for Baldler.
Yep. And that's kind of right in that middle range, and I think he's going to do a good job of kind of just managing this race. I mean, Emerson, it's It's tough when you're that many laps down, but he's done what he's needed to do, right? Just he stayed in it. The car's didn't have any more damage on it. Getting some reps, getting some laps. All that is important.
So noting here, Lane Doyle, the second driver on the two-stop strategy, and right now he is second as Max Service, the race leader, is in. I was gonna say Doyle right now is second on the strategy, but Andrew Harris is quickly closing that gap, and Harris looks to pass Doyle here relatively soon. So Max Service to the box.
And, you know, one thing that I think helps Max out a lot playing the strategy he did is the fact that he came alive late.
Yes.
Late run speed, looks like he was able to manage things really well. And that's what, it goes back to the same thing, and I don't want to say it too many times, but it's just, you see how important it is. Matching strategy with driving style.
Yeah.
Right? You don't do anything out of the box that you cannot do as a driver. Like, I know I'm a lot better tire saver than going out and giving you hot laps for 175 laps.
Yep.
So for me,
I agree with
that one-stop strategy might be better because I'm not going to run as hard. But if you look at a driver like Max, who's just is the same way in a certain sense, but he can also just go out there and fire hot laps for 175 laps too. It's going to play perfectly into his hands.
Also noting there, Matthew Greathouse has made his way past Daniel Park, and now we're to lap 97 of 175, and I'm not sure where we're going with the strategy calls here for the top 4 drivers who have yet to pit. I guess at this point they're kind of just hoping for a caution because we've passed the one-stop strategy point. We blew past the two-stop strategy point. Now it's maybe just to have fresher tires at the end. Probably the only other green flag, straight green flag strategy.
I would guess that would be the only other way to play that. Yeah. And like I said from, you know, almost the top of the show, Iowa's a track where it's either long green flag runs or a lot of caution. There's really never an in between, and that's kind of what we're seeing here.
So Matthew Cornell pits from the 3rd position. And I want to say Max Service, there he is. He's only a second back of Lane Doyle as well. And Max Service has just ran the fastest lap of the race. So we were just talking about it, JB. He can play it conservative and save his tires. He can also run hot laps as he's ran the fastest lap on the day.
And what was unique there is when Connor came out of pit road, what happened 3 or 4 laps after he came out of pit road?
Also
Same
fastest lap, yep.
Yep.
Doyle way up the track. Service blows past the 47, no problem.
It's almost like, too, the phenomenon where you're already running pretty hard for what the tires have, but there's no better feeling than 4 fresh tires. And so naturally, it's just easier to drive a little bit faster.
Yeah, you want to feel them out. You want to play with your new toys. David Davis pits, Daytona race winner.
And how about David Davis and that FD50K team? Yeah, him too, but I just want to show, you know, whenever we have new drivers, new teams come to SRN, it's always it seems like there's always a little learning curve, right? That's the part of it. But that team, they jumped in on our summer series, and man, they've been a blast. They've been racing well. They're really good drivers, high level of racecraft, have a lot of fun, love to crack jokes with the league. They're the first to make fun of each other on their own team, which is always a good sign of some camaraderie. But you know, they put it together last week and won 2 in that one.
And then there was one, Dan Park, the lone driver yet to pit tonight here at Iowa. Lap 103 of 175, and now Dan Park coming in. And for someone searching for the first one, I'm not sure where this strategy is going to land him. But he should have some of the freshest tires at the end of it.
Yep.
72 laps to go in the race as Daniel Park works his way down the pit lane. This is going to turn the lead over to Connor Cunningham. And JB, he is going to have a pretty monster lead as Cunningham goes by right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we expected, right? We
And there
talked
goes
about it running a
Harris.
second half lap faster than
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else. Yeah,
Got
like
7 seconds
it's
on Andrew Harris.
yeah, exactly. Now, of course, he's now giving that time back up,
Yep.
but it's not a lot. It's Harris is going to get there eventually, but I think when if the Delta cycles out, I think Connor still comes out on top because we're talking 2/10 here.
Yeah, right now, yeah, it's only 2/10 that Harris has on Connor, which is not a lot. And if you think Connor is going to pit in about 20 laps from now, you know, he's going to have, let's call it 4 to 5 seconds. Call it 4 seconds on Harris maybe at that point.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's going to be 4 seconds less he has to gain back to catch him later.
Yep.
So this is where it's all cycled out. Connor Cunningham, the race leader. Andrew Harris now in second. Max Service in third, trying to find a way past the 87 machine. Lane Doyle now in fourth. Matthew Greathouse in fifth, who's just come off the pit lane a couple laps ago. Dan Park in sixth, who just came off the pit lane now. Joe Ruggles in seventh, the first car 1 lap down. Matthew Cornell in eighth, who came off the pit lane about 10 laps ago. David Davis in ninth, he is 2 laps down. Jay King in 10th, 3 laps off the pace, and Daniel Baldler right now in 11th. It's not pitted since he came off the pit lane with damage, so I guess technically Daniel Baldler still has the pit, but he is 15 laps down.
Yep.
2 race leader Connor Cunningham, and Cunningham's coming in now. Okay.
Yep. Not that
So
time
here
again.
we go. This is a little early for the second stop compared to when he made the first, but Dan Park has just ran the fastest lap of the race at a 23:74.
Ooh. And what's interesting is considering how far he's already been out there on those tires. So, what's Dan found that we need some of?
Yeah, he ran at 6 laps since his pit stop. So this is really going to be it here. How far back does Connor come out off the leaders? So he's getting lapped right now. But how quickly can he get his lap back, and can he chase him down?
Yep.
He's going to be behind Doyle. Let's call it 7, maybe 8 seconds when he gets up to pace. Be 7 because he'll be in front of Greathouse. Battle for the lead now. Max Service and Andrew Harris. And Max Service, we saw how good of a dive he put on Dan Park earlier. Now Service, he rolls through that center of the corner. Max Service to the point again here in Iowa.
Yeah, I'm just real impressed with the pace and the consistency of the 81. We saw him sideways maybe once there in that first run, but otherwise you didn't see him slip a tire.
Right. So here's the deal. Connor Cunningham finds himself 31 seconds back with, what are we at? 63 laps to go? Did I do that math right? Yeah, 63 laps to go. So let's see how this plays out for Connor. And basically, he's got to catch half a second every lap on Max Service. Now, what's going to help is right now he's catching over a second a lap, but, you know, how long can he keep that up?
Just watching lap times here on the other screen, and Connor's obviously made the pit stop, so he's rattling off at least a second faster laps than everybody else. But you know, who's been in that 24-second bracket kind of consistently without fail? Other than that, it's been the 81 and Max Service.
Yeah.
So no surprise that he's up front.
So yeah, as far as I can see for the records, Max Service only has one career victory in SRN. That was back at Indianapolis. He has 3 second place finishes, all in
Yep.
yeah, all in this series as well. So, and he has 4 third place finishes. Max trying to continue to add to that, but right now has a second advantage over Andrew Harris. Call it 5 seconds to Matthew Greathouse. And Doyle's also come and left the pit lane. Daniel Bowler has also made his pit stop today. Or yeah, I guess his one pit stop today.
Yep. All he needs to do for the rest of this race.
Yeah. So I think we are good on pit stops today, maybe with the exception of Joe Ruggles and Jay King. 2 more stops in this race if we go green to the end. Max Service trying to leg the field out a little bit now. At 81 machine.
Yeah,
Here
he's
comes Connor.
Yeah, I'm still looking impressive with lap times. Here's Connor to get his lap back.
Yeah,
But remember, he has to go now all the way back around the racetrack. It is important though, because if a caution does come out, it helps the 24 a ton.
And Joe Ruggles tries crashed coming to pit lane. No, maybe just a spin. Car looks clean. But Joe Ruggles did struggle coming to pit road. And looks like there is damage on the rear end as well. Is he out of gas?
Maybe.
Well, he's just really slow. Going through now. The Sierra Speed 96 machine. Let me take a replay and see his pit entry. He was struggling coming down the pit road here. So this is Joe Ruggles coming to pit road. And missed the turn a little bit. Oh, okay, no damage. Damage is from the racetrack, I guess.
That would be the only explanation for that one. So, Max Service currently last lap time 24.794. Connor is out there ripping off 24.242, so half a second faster. But he's got to catch up a full lap, so
he's got to run half a second faster from now to the end.
Yeah, and you think about that, 50 laps, 25 seconds. Basically, if the pace is exactly where it is, Connor catches back up with 2 laps to go. But you know that Connor's going to have to pass a vehicle. Well, have to pass at least 3-4 vehicles to get there. And that will always slow your pace down a little bit. So, he's going to have to find a way to probably pick up some larger chunks here just to put some in the bag for what he does have to catch those vehicles that he needs to work his way around.
Yeah, Connor, it's a tall task, but, he's got the faith of himself. And he's certainly swinging for the fences. So Connor finds himself less than 22 seconds back of Max Service now. Continues to take chunks out of that. By the way, Daniel Baldler just ran fastest lap of the day.
There you go.
I believe Joe Ruggles has called it a day and will forego his 10th place finish. So Baldler right now is on pace to take a top 10.
Why you stay in it? You never know.
That point could be pivotal later on in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Park in third. He is running 2/10 faster than Max, 4/10 quicker than Harris. But I don't know if that deficit is attainable
Yeah.
for Dan Park.
I agree. That's just too much time to make. And because if you look at the time deltas, they're not running times that are that different, and so it's just it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But as soon as the race gets spread out like this, especially at Iowa, you get all the time. It's kind of how it ends up. But I commend these guys. This is not an easy racetrack to get around, especially in these vehicles. And we've had a really nice, clean race tonight.
Absolutely, just the one yellow so far tonight. That was Daniel Baldler, Connor Cunningham coming together off of turn 4. So 2 of our vets. Yeah, I'll give it to the new guys for keeping it clean tonight, and the returning drivers, of course.
Yep.
So we are coming now. This is 45 to go. This time will be 44. For the Nova Scotian and the lone Canadian, the field, Max Service.
Nova Scotia.
He's now opened up a 2.8 second advantage, and for Max Service, he has set sail. We'll now see. The 81 has a sword, but my goodness, he has really found a new gear around here.
Yeah.
I knew he had this performance in him. I just didn't see this today. Especially just the way he was running the first half of this race. It took him a long time to unlock the speed, but you know what? He was mired back in traffic. He qualified third, right? But he found himself falling back, letting everyone else get their aggression out early. He found himself taking back those spots later. Took time to get through them. Where this time he did not have to pass that many people to get to the point.
Yep.
Right, or on the second end of the pit stop that he had on lap 94. So he is just absolutely.
And you have to think too that it's just it kind of was a race that plays into his favor. Just he kind of revs up throughout the race. He starts on just a nice, slow, conservative pace. Pushes it a little further, pushes it a little faster, and then by the time we get to the end of the race, it seems like he's always throwing his hat in the ring. And like I keep going back to, if you play the race that fits your driving style well, you're gonna find success more than you find.
Laps to go from the Iowa Speedway in the Speed Racing Network Steel Graphics and Design Series.
How cool is it to have Michael Steele back with us this year?
Yeah.
His color scheme is so good. It looks good on everything too, which helps.
Oh yeah, and I mean he's been a long time involvement in the series, painting for many drivers, and now decided to really pick it up a step with his involvement in support in the series, and I'm very thankful for that, and love to see that we're able to reciprocate that support. Jay King pit from the 9th position. I think this is our final pit stop of the race, should we stay green to the end. This is the other end of the Team Apache drivers tonight, I believe.
Yep.
The teammate Joe had the early exit tonight. Let's see where Jay King brings this 19 machine to the checkers. Down and away to Sierra Speed. Team Apache 19 is. Getting going. Andrew Harris and Dan Park getting the battle here for the second time today. This time for second. Big run now for Dan through the center of the corner. Contact, maybe. Oh my goodness, they came close. I don't believe they made contact, but they surely came close. And now a dive down to the inside, really tight. On the outside of the 7 is the 87. They come together. There was a little bit of contact between Dan Park and Andrew Harris, and we're not done yet. As they power down to the turn 1, Harris, a deep dive on the outside, really pinning down the 7 now. They come together there. Oh.
Yeah. These guys don't want to go away quietly tonight, do they?
We've gotten a little physical tonight at Iowa. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Big dive for Dan. He catches apron there. Wow. Be a little frustration on that corner entry for Dan. So the battle for second, which I'm sure is not going to end on just that, really sparked up. This goes on 5 and a third second behind of Max Service. You know, for Dan, JB, he's steadily catching Andrew Harris, and not that, you expect him to lay over, but, at this point of the run, you're maybe just expecting for him to continue to run his line. You run yours, see which line prevails, but Andrew Harris turned up the whip, turned up the driving style, and really pinned it down on Dan, and that's not something we had seen earlier in the first half when Harris was racing Dan. He was just really committing to defense, staying ahead of him. Well, this time he allowed him to get alongside and tried the more physical tactic. And I know that's because laps are winding down, but, I know as Dan, you just got to go back to the drawing board to find a way around, but I totally see that frustration.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's part of racing, right?
Absolutely.
You're going to get frustrated. There are going to be those moments. Oh, boy. Okay.
Speaking of racing, it's going to get really, really hot and heavy here. They come together again. More contact. Oh, man. This is why you love short track racing. Bam. Now Harris caught the wall there in the front straightaway. We'll see if Dan's able to make something of it. Harris now, more contact, and Park trying to clear, not clear now, clear. Oh, the 87. Harris will try to throw it into 3 and 4. Dan is clear and stable it off, and wow. Oh man, what a battle.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen much battling like this tonight because everybody's been so spread apart, but yeah, 100%.
That was fun. Maybe not for Andrew Harris, but for all the viewers. Oh, wow, they were, none of these guys, neither Dan nor Andrew were afraid to really get physical. I don't think we're done. I don't know if Harris has the tire to stick it back to Dan, but he's certainly trying. He's got the effort. See there, Dan Park.
Incredible racing down the stretch here tonight.
Yeah. 25 laps to go for Max Service, who has now almost a 6-second advantage over Dan Park. And Park now, he's opening up to now 0.4 of a second over Andrew Harris. Take a look at Happy Greathouse in the 51 machine. Baldwin gets the wall behind. You can there for the 6 machine, but he'll keep it going, keep it straight. But back to Matthew Greathouse, that is, in the 51 machine. Quite day for Matthew. He started 6th and has brought it inside the top 5. He's kept it up here. Nice and steady, JB. What do you make of Greathouse's performance tonight?
Like you just said, just steady, right? What really good drivers do is week to week they don't panic, right? They just go, you know what? Long season, got a lot going on, a lot of racing left. I don't need to get it all in one night. And when I think about Greathouse, I think that's one of his best attributes. And I think tonight was a perfect example of just that.
Yeah, Matthew's been really consistent tonight, and that's really staked out this 4th place run for him. He's got 13 seconds to Connor, and the dream for Connor tonight to make that 2-shot strategy work just does not seem like it's going to come to fruition. He still finds himself 22 seconds off the pace to Max Service, and now Max is running faster than Connor at this point, even though Max has 14 lap older tires than Connor. You see Connor get the wall there sideways on the front straightaway there for the 78 of Connor Cunningham, and he is about to maybe
Connor
get
never stopped driving it.
Yeah. Now getting bigger out the front windshield of Max Service, and Max with 20 laps to go, searching for his 2nd career victory in Speed Racing Network competition. Matthew Greathouse, he is chasing down Andrew Harris, and so Andrew might not be done in the battles department, as Matthew Greathouse might want to stay at a podium tonight. Woo! You can hear Greathouse really playing with the throttle there on exit, sideways, as he crests the corner.
Expect nothing less at this point in the race.
Yeah.
This age on the tires. You're just holding on for dear life almost.
You see his gloves there. You see him turn. But look when he comes off the corner. That time not too much, but when the gloves go the other way, the opposite direction of the track, that's when you're in trouble. $15 laps to go. The gap now between Harris and Greathouse under a second.
Checking back in on our good friend Connor too. Unfortunately for him, just the lap times leveled off, right? So we saw him gaining. Then he hit about 15 seconds. Getting it down to about 14 now is just not going to be enough. Valiant effort, though, and a strategy I honestly liked a lot. Just couldn't get enough out of this last run, I think, to kind of finish the job off.
Yeah, I mean, Max is now running faster than Connor.
Yeah, which just proves the points you were making about the driver of the 81 earlier, you know? When you're good, you're good. And sometimes you got to let the field know that I'm just all right, you know? And just turn the wick up as the race goes and just do his thing. He's doing a great job of it right now.
So keeping tabs on Harris Greathouse, JB, because this could turn real physical for the checkers here. That battle now 7/10 of a second between Harris and Greathouse for the final podium spot tonight. Seven seconds the gap now Max Service has over Dan Park, and 9 seconds the gap Max has over Andrew Harris. And sideways there was the 51 of Greathouse. Ten laps to go now. Greathouse trying to recover some of that lost time. I call it 9 laps to go. Some of that lost time to Harris. Can't really break within 7/10 of a second.
Yeah.
The tire's really coming to age now.
Starting to really not be too happy. Those tires are tapping out, if you will. They've had enough today.
Yeah, they want off these cars. Last caution, man. They do not like it. But,
yeah, exactly.
Harris a little sideways there now. You see if Baldler has a play in this. He got around the 51. He get up to the 87. Not saying there is going to be any of that, but you know that could, in theory, help Harris close that gap. But 7 to go. Not a whole lot of motion back here as it is. Oh, hard into the wall is Andrew Harris. He pounds the wall down.
Yeah, he got that one good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we were just sitting here watching him like, oh, he's nice and smooth, doing a good job, and then bam.
Yeah, he's lucky he's got the composite bodies on this. If that was the next gen, that's a toe link.
It's game over. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But now that does allow Baller to get here, and the door is open for Greathouse. All of a sudden, this battle does look like it is on.
Yeah, this is heat up a little bit here in the last couple laps. These guys weren't going to be quite done yet today.
For third. This time I'll be 4 laps to go. How does Greathouse play this? The dive now for Matthew Greathouse to the bottom side of the racetrack. Can he get up alongside the 87? Harris holds station for now. Up high, Greathouse tries to make something happen. Sideways is the 51 as Harris catches the wall. Harris is back in the wall. We're still not done. Harris is in trouble. Here comes Greathouse.
Yeah.
Sideways
Harris
is
just
the
last
87.
couple laps. Oh, not to it. I don't know how he wasn't in the inside wall right there, Emerson. He had that thing all the way sideways.
Not done yet. Now Greathouse clears by Andrew Harris. My goodness. What is going on? The only thing that is for sure is this driver of the number 81 Max Service. It's been since 2023 since Max Service's last won in Speed Racing Network competition. He won in dramatic fashion at Indianapolis. He brings it now back to SRN in his second start on the season. For the second time in his career, Max Service is going to victory lane. Tonight it's in Iowa.
What a race by Max Service. just textbook. And what a race by these guys.
For Max Service, a dominant, especially dominant second half of tonight's race. Tonight he'll win by 9.3 seconds over Dan Park and company. At that, we
Just
could
doing
take
everything he needs to.
Yeah, I mean, absolute dominant today. After starting third, falling all the way back down through the running order, down to 7th at one point. Service tonight. The race winner, he'll be the second driver in the win column this season. And I believe with this run, because Davis finished 8th, this will put probably Max Service either second or as the point leader. Essentially the point leader. Could be second to Dan, I think. We'll see where the math winds up.
Those should populate relatively soon, so we will have an answer.
Nonetheless,
We're
for
pretty
Max
quick about
Service,
providing quality information here.
Nonetheless, for Max Service, one thing for sure that was pretty quick was driver of the number 81. And it has been a long time coming since I got to talk to you, my good friend, Max Service, in the winner's circle in booth tonight. Your second career SRN win. Tonight it's in Iowa. Max, you kind of came out of nowhere in that first half. And that to really leg it out and dominate that second half. Talk to us about how you got it done tonight.
Yeah, I just kind of sat back and let the race come to me a little bit. I don't know. Car felt a little tight, so came down early, topped off on fuel just to make sure it was as free as it could be on that run, and drove my way to the front there at the end of it, and everything kind of worked out with pit strategy. Dan got held up a little bit, unfortunate for him, but that kind of helped me out at the end a little bit. Yeah, just kind of a perfect day for, I guess the second half was perfect. The first half didn't look too good.
Well, it didn't look too good, but I even mentioned during the broadcast that you kind of have, you know, your thought process going into this race, especially if it goes green, you know, what you're going to do. And it didn't look like it essentially early because you let everyone kind of go early. But did you know you had winning pace in the 81 machine tonight?
I knew with it being a repave, there probably wasn't going to be a ton of fall off. So if I could just put the lap somewhere that they didn't tear the right front off the car, that I would work it all right. Car was really free into the corners, really tight up off, which kind of suits me really, really well. Especially here, I kind of drive a lot lower off the corners than pretty much anybody else, which kind of saves the right front, allows me to pass and just make lap time at the end of runs.
Well, Max, this has been a good. I think it's been 2 years since your last victory in SRN. If I get the date right, yeah, August 2nd, 2023. There you go. Was that win, that dramatic win at Indianapolis? But for you, Max, getting that win early in the season. This is a very short season, 12 race season coming up next is Chicagoland. What does the win do for you now? Does it change anything on your outlook going forward? And what do you say about Chicagoland?
doesn't really change anything. I'm just gonna keep going week to week, see what happens, do the best I can, get the best finish I can. Maybe be a little bit more aggressive on strategy, but I don't know. We'll see going forward.
Well, Max, congratulations then on your second career SRN victory here in the Steel Graphics and Design series and getting it done here tonight, Iowa. Max, congratulations and best luck to you going forward, man.
Thank you.
That was driver of the number 81, our race winner tonight here at the Iowa Speedway Max service. And now JB will get the chance to talk to our second place finisher tonight in Dan Park. It's another podium for the 7 Machine, JB.
Mr. Park, pleasure to talk to you again this evening. Talk to us a little bit about your race. We feel like the two strategies would kind of equalize out in the end, but then the one-stop strategy turned out to be victorious. What was your thought process as the race unfolded, and what was going through your head?
From the start of the race, I knew I was only doing a one-stop strategy. If we went green, I could make it to around 100, and then the last 75, give it all I could.
You know, Iowa races are typically like this, right? We see it either as a caution fest or just long green flag runs span the whole race. Did you expect one over the other? And then once you saw kind of us get into that green flag racing kind of atmosphere, did that kind of fall into your driving style, or was that making things a little more difficult for you?
No, I expected it to be green, and I was saving tires at the start of the race so I could run a little bit longer than most people I thought would. Great House ended up running as long as I did, which was not expected.
Yeah, we kind of predicted that too. You know, we kind of saw you fade early, and we're like, we know exactly what Dan Park is doing. Which, hey, honestly, probably a smart strategy. Got you a second place tonight, so it gets you in the money, and that's always the important part, right? Is finishing in the money. We have Chicagoland, Rockingham, Texas, the next 3 races on the schedule. What excites you about those? Looking forward to any of those? Dreading any of those? Talk us through it.
I'm looking forward to Rockingham, dreading Texas as always, but
Yeah,
I'm just not
killing
a
me.
fan of Texas.
You're
But
killing
I
me in
always
Emerson right now.
I always look forward to Rockingham. I'm sorry, but I always look forward to Rockingham. It's always a fun track for me. But the one thing I can't say is that was an amazing battle with me and Andrew.
Oh,
Oh yeah, we were watching.
I don't know how many times we made
Over it.
contact with each other, and I still ended up with a 0x.
Yeah,
But we were using each other's doors.
you could tell there was some respect there. But you could tell one definitely wanted to beat the other two. So it's honestly one of those kind of picture perfect battles, right? That we look for in these races because, you know, let's be honest, you have 13 something cars out there on Iowa, everything gets a little spread out. Once we saw you guys get close to each other, we're like, all right, game on. And that's exactly what it turned into.
I was hoping to get around him faster because if I did, I think I had something for Max. Because I was gaining on Max all the way up until I caught Andrew, and he's something to pass. He gives you all you can handle. But
I feel
I
something
enjoy
to
it.
pass might be the best way anybody's ever said that without saying something else.
Yep.
You know, I feel like this past weekend that might have been the phrase that Denny Hamlin needed to use.
I enjoy
Something to
battling
pass.
Andrew. It seems like me and him always battle each other, but like we do it cleanly. Nobody wrecked.
Yeah.
Impressively
important
enough, we were pretty sideways sometimes, but
Hey,
but it was an
that's
enjoyable
what makes it
battle.
happen. Before we let you go back tonight, celebrate your second place finish with the powers that be over there at Park Brothers Racing. Who do you have to thank for your effort this evening?
For one, I gotta thank Michael Steele Graphics and Design, for the amazing paint. I gotta thank you and Emerson for being in the broadcast, you for putting on the league, and my teammates at Park Brothers Racing. Come home 1-2. You can't complain with that.
We're also going to give you one more chance because we missed it last week. But That car you're driving, we hear it's got some special names on it. Talk to us about that.
So
we can see it this
I
week.
lost my father
That's right.
about a month and a half ago. So his name is on the door, and it will be there for as long as I race. I will have his name on my car, and then my grandma's name's on the door also. I lost her at the end of March, beginning of April. So I
Fantastic
dedicate all
looking
my
car.
races to them. So
Great causes, honestly. That's what makes SRN special, right? We're able to show off what we're passionate about, our loved ones, through the paints that are out on the racetrack. And hey, there's no better way to race in the series of the person who is sponsoring it by showing off their incredible paint schemes. So it's a win-win-win for
exactly.
Mr. Michael Steele, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right, we'll let you go, Dan. Great job on your second place finish tonight.
Thank you, guys.
That was our second place finisher, driver of the number 7 in Daniel Park. We'll bring in now third place finisher, driver of the number 51 in Matthew Greathouse. And Matthew, boy, oh boy, that was quite the battle there at the end. Both you and Andrew were sideways, and I didn't know how much more y'all could take of it. But I guess walk us through that last lap battle, and you can tell us, about the race overall as well.
Yeah, tough race, really. I am not an Xfinity guy by any means, so I spend most of my time racing Craftsman Truck Series on here and a couple other things. So this is my first actual league race ever in an Xfinity car. First time I've ever been to Iowa in an Xfinity car. So it was tough. I mean, I was expecting the car to be a little more free throughout the entire run, and for me, I just couldn't get it to rotate. It was very difficult to turn. So yeah, towards the end, you heat the right rear tire up, you get a little bit loose. I think that's what happened to Andrew and I both. So we were just racing really hard, trying to get position on one another. So he ended up getting super loose. I took advantage of it, and but yeah, it was fun. We had a lot of fun racing, and yeah, it's definitely different than the trucks for sure. It's going to take me a little bit to figure it out. Not even in the same zip code as Max, so got some work to do.
Well, Matt, it was still a pretty good outing. You obviously bring it home with a third place finish tonight. The speed definitely was there. So you have a 12 race season, and not really, I guess, as long of a season as we had in the past to just get it sorted out and pointing it in the right direction. But you got a track like Chicagoland coming up. What does a track like Chicagoland do for you, and can it help facilitate your learning curve a little bit with this car? And do you think that track does you any favors?
I think it'll probably be a little easier on me than this track for sure. Yeah, I was like, I hate to even compare the trucks in the Xfinity, but I felt like I did a worse job of saving tires in this car than I did in the trucks at Iowa. I was really good at Chicagoland in my last league with the trucks, so I'm hoping something carries over a little bit. I do love the track. It's one of my favorite mile and a half, so just have to see how it is in practice and how I feel about it on a long run and even with short run speed. I felt like I fired off okay in this race, and by the end, running after 50, 60, even 70, 80 laps on the tires, I was off maybe a tenth to 2/10 or so here and there. Every once in a while, I'd run a similar lap time as a leader. So just trying to gain some consistency. I feel like Max was just clipping off 24 7s, 8s, and 9s, just right towards the end of at the end of that run, the end of that long run there, and I was just kind of jumping around 25 O's, 25 1s, then I'd run a 24 9. So yeah, I just got to get more consistent and just be maybe a little more aggressive at the beginning of a run and try not to lose so many spots. It's hard to pass. So yeah, I think Chicagoland will be good though. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have a better outlook than Dan Park does on Texas? What's your opinion of Texas?
My opinion of Texas?
Yes.
I enjoy Texas. It's
there we go.
Probably a top 3, maybe 4 mile and a half track for me. I think it's very unique. In the truck, for me, it's very fun. I actually won there in my league, truck league. It's just really unique running, a flatter corner in 1 and 2, and then you're kind of wide open in 3 and 4, and got to kind of try to conserve tires, even in both corners. So it's a good track. I enjoy it. A lot of people don't like it, but I take advantage of that.
Well, then you're allowed to stay. All right, we got
you
a
on,
tail
JB.
den park. You can't. That's right. Trying to get the answer I wanted to hear.
Well, Matthew,
Yeah, so,
congratulations on your 3rd place finish tonight, man. And best of luck to you going forward, man.
Yeah, sounds good. Just want to thank everybody at JBR for bringing me back over. I kind of stepped away from SRN for a little bit, and it's just good to be back. I mean, I'd like to see the car count come up a little bit, so hopefully we can do that. If not, we still had a good race tonight, and I got taken out early in Daytona last week, so it's kind of a bummer. But yeah, we'll just keep trucking along. Thanks to Tournament Pay and Bolify, Bowler Smart, everybody that helps us at JBR, and thanks to Jonathan for putting me in the car.
Absolutely, and that was our 3rd place finisher tonight, driver of the number 51, Matthew Greathouse, and yeah, that is he got you one there, JB. I think Max does too. I just didn't think to ask him.
Racetrack. I mean, that's one thing when we sat down and looked at the schedule for this year, because honestly, most people would agree, the Xfinity car race is good at a lot of different racetracks.
Oh, it sure
So it
does.
makes making the schedule kind of difficult. You got so many different options. Okay, if we're gonna just do one road course, well then what do we pick? If we're gonna do, a certain amount of mile and a half, certain amount of sport tracks, well, where do we go? And it's like, well, realistically, we're looking at 10 tracks for 3 spots in kind of each of those categories. And I just my bias did get my wish in Texas. But the rest of our leadership team, I think they did a great job with the other mile and a half picks. I think Chicagoland, because it is coming back on the NASCAR schedule, really good option. I think Charlotte is one of the Charlotte and Homestead being the 2 chase races that are mile and a half for this series. I think 2 best mile and a halves in this car. So I think they did a great job with that. I think Iowa was a great pick as well. Of course, we were a little unsure about race 2 in the season. Iowa being that track. We kind of maybe had little flashbacks of what some of the truck races at Milwaukee looked like a couple seasons ago, and that was the second race on the schedule. But it actually turned out quite nice, and I have to give the drivers a lot of credit for making that happen, because they were patient, they pressed at the right times. We still got great battles, and so I have to give our field an attaboy for the performance they put on.
100%. And speaking of the field and the performances they put on, let's take a look at our race results coming into tonight. And of course, coming out of tonight, Max Service, the race winner of a 9.2 second advantage over Dan Park. Matthew Greathouse finishes 3rd. Andrew Harris finishes 4th. Connor Cunningham is classified 1 lap down. Not sure how that one plays out there, but Lane Doyle finishes 6th. Matthew Cornell 7th, David Davis finishes 8th, Jay King 9th, Daniel Butler 10th, and Joe Ruggles, the one driver not to finish tonight, finishes 11th. And so that is how they did or didn't come to the checkers this evening, JB. But you know what? Two races on the season, only 2 yellows, both of them in the first 10 laps of both races, JB. We had some pretty good racing to this point. Coming up next is Chicagoland. That should be a fun one as well. And I think it would also bring a pretty good race, because that track is wide. 4 lanes worth of racing. You can also run middle, run top, run up high a little bit at Chicago. I think it's going to be very fun. We head that way to Joliet next time out.
Yeah, 100%. I think that track has so much character. I mean, obviously we don't know exactly what NASCAR's plans are bringing it back. I mean, obviously the surface has aged more, but I think from what I've seen on reports, that it's still in good enough shape to be race ready. And I think that's important, because much like Iowa, that abrasiveness, that multi-lane racing, that's what sucks people in, right? And of course, people are going to say, well, why'd we ever get away from it? Well, you know what? In any sport, right, you have to get out there and try different things. And the Chicago street race was a great a great project, right? It put on some good racing. It was different. It brought fans to the sport in a major city. Now, myself personally, I don't think I could get around that racetrack more than twice in a row without hitting something. So I'm not here to speak on the racetrack itself, but you know, I think it's going to be welcomed back with open arms, and I can't wait to see what the racing looks like there. But hopefully the SRN race next week is a precursor to what somebody might see next year on the Xfinity, or I'm sorry, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series schedule. We're going to have to retrain ourselves on that. That's going to be so hard. I remember when the nationwide switch happened, and what did we keep saying? The nationwide series. Got to put a quarter in the jar every time.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, enough about sponsors. We have our own, of course, to shout out here at SRN. Zozo Miniatures is a home-based hobby and craft business that brings the small world to the big stage with handcrafted, homemade-to-scale items such as fully furnished doll houses for display or play, dollhouse kits from base level to ready-to-furnish houses, dollhouse furnishings, custom jewelry, 3D printing services, laser cutting and etching services, and custom seasonal decor. You can check them out and feel free to drop a message for any special inquiries at zozominiatures.etsy.com and Instagram. Make sure to use offer code iRacing for 20% off of your Zozo Miniatures purchase. ThermoPro produces the best wireless meat thermometers and digital hygrometers for household use. Before establishing their brand, ThermoPro supplied some of the largest brands you see on the market today, working behind the scenes as the manufacturer. Now providing customers with top quality products at very competitive prices without sacrificing functionality or quality. You can use code ThermoProTeam to save 15% off of your ThermoPro order today. Admin Box is built by iRacers for iRacers, with the goal being to make race control as easy as possible. Each admin box connects via USB and features pre-programmed commands with no key binding for race control, driver function, and pit options. With LED backlighting that makes the buttons highly visible in any situation, you can use code SRN-box. That's BOXX to save 10% off of your admin box order. Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Established in 2016, they offer many different options to help take your sim racing career to the highest levels of iRacing. With over 50,000 customers worldwide, they have got the tools you need to compete with the best sim racers iRacing has to offer. Use code SpeedNetwork15 to save 15% on your Premier Racing Setups order. Also, check out the Speed Racing Network YouTube membership program. You can join today for $4.99 a month and get access to loyalty badges, custom emojis, exclusive wallpapers and photos, early access to new content, member shoutouts, members-only live chats, and priority reply to comments. To join, you can click that join button next to the subscribe button. And of course, while you're there, drop a subscription, join us here at YouTube, and also check out the rest of our socials, our Facebook page at facebook.com/Speed Racing Network, our X page at Speed Racing Net, our Instagram at Speed Racing Network, our YouTube, youtube.com/Speed Racing Network, company LinkedIn at linkedin.com/company/Speed Racing Network, and of course, the website we can keep up with news, schedules, points, and the like is waiting for you at speedracingnetwork.com. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, JB, and head on the road to Chicago?
You know, I usually have a lot of thoughts, but I don't. Tonight's race was just really good. I mean, a classic Xfinity Series race, green flag run. Great job by our drivers. You know, of course, one thing we keep talking about, you heard a couple interviews, we'd love to see a few more cars out here on track. There are a few drivers who we knew couldn't join us for the first handful of races for the season, so you know, we expect some guys to start showing up as we continue. But if you're interested in joining this series, we welcome in drivers and teams at any time. You can get a hold of us anywhere on our speedracingnetwork.com contact pages, social media accounts, things like that. We'll get you set up. We'll get you part of this racing experience. I'll tell you from experience as somebody who still has a team but used to race religiously in Speed Racing Network. There's just nothing like it out there. So if you want to be part of it, we'd love to have you. We'd love to see these fields grow a little bit, and can't wait for next week. Chicago.
Absolutely. So that'll do it for us here from the Iowa Speedway. Thank you all so much for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Join us next Tuesday night as the Steel Graphic and Design Series head to the Chicagoland Speedway for round 3 of 12 on the season. From all of us at Speed Racing Network, Jonathan Byer and myself, Emerson Arden, thank you all so much for watching.